So this is a definitely little baby. They get quite big, and they'll even have multiple like trunks. It's a really beautiful tree, very magnificent. And when you're out at Emerson Point, what I like about that is I know that the people that were here living on this land were interacting, maybe not with exactly the same gumbo limbos, but at least maybe the babies, or when they were even this, this size. And it's just really cool. I like that connection. And plus it looks like so different from the other trees here in Florida, with the bark and everything about it. It's
like
just
a southern version of a birch tree.
yeah. And there's something I'm forgetting about the gumbo limbo. I'm gonna keep trying to remember it. I'm forgetting something important.
Does the bark come off?
The bark, it will peel, like this papery stuff peels.
Colorful underneath, right?
Yes.
Like the scarring of it, Ruthie, or was that what you were gonna?
She was asking about how the bark comes, like it actually will peel like this, but yeah, there is some like scarring here, right? It seems to be very delicate. Like, is that what you're talking about?
Well, you said you were trying to remember, so I was just.
Yeah, okay. I see.
Isn't the gumbo limbo like the North American Palo Santo? Like that type of sacred?
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I was forgetting. Yes, it's related to the Palo Santo.
So do you burn or like for spiritual cleanse, use the bark or the sap?
Yeah, you can use any of those. Yep.
And you would burn the bark?
Yeah. Or make tea, like a decoction. Yep.
How would you harvest?
So if you want to work with a tree, the cool thing is you don't have to mess with the main trunk. So these branches are really tall, so it'd be hard for us. But if we wanted to harvest some gumbo limbo, we could just find a few of the smaller branches that would need to be trimmed anyway, like maybe that branch over there. So yeah, I would just look for what needed to come off anyway, and then that would be my bark. And then I would have all the parts I needed.
Also, I have one in my backyard. When storms come through, like it loses some of the branches, and then those are like just beautiful offerings. And I know Bob speaks to it, maybe not gumbo limbo specific, but Palo Santo, they will only use it if it's the pieces that have been struck by lightning, and then they're on the ground anyway.
I see.
Yep.
Palo Santo means spiritual tree.
Say that again?
Palo Santo means spiritual tree.
I just like the pattern of the branches. It's really like a no pattern, the way they come out. It's neat. So anyway, that is the magnificent gumbo limbo. Well, so let's look around at some other plants that are out here. So, let's see. We'll go this way for a minute. Oh, I know what we can talk about. Right over here.
Exactly.
So this is the false kava that I was telling you that you could bathe in. And it's like almost like a spiritual bath. So I usually just take a leaf, and sometimes you'll have on the back side, there'll be like these little buggy things. I don't know, they're like moths or something. So I just check for those before I pick the leaf usually. But you can pass this around, smell it. It kind of smells like root beer. So the root can be made for like a root beer like drink. And then in South America, Central America, they will use the leaves for cooking. So you can wrap your dish inside and then like roll it up and put it on the coals, and it will steam really nicely.
You eat it?
No, usually it's just for the actual steaming.
I see.
but there might be people that use it in their recipes. I haven't. But I usually use this for cleaning. But if you want to smell it, I'll pass this around.
What's that one called again?
This is false kava, or a root beer plant. It grows really prolifically here. So if you bought one, you would put it in a place that it couldn't spread too much, because it will. It'll be like, yay, thank you, freedom! And it will just grow and grow and grow. And then you'll be like, oh, I guess I'm getting a lot of spiritual bathing, because I've got a lot of these plants. And so, you know, what else are you going to do? If you're not cooking with them, then might as well bathe with them. Might as well. So under here, let's see, what else do we have? Elder. You guys familiar with elderberry? We might be talking about this tomorrow, I think, but we'll talk about this some more. But this is what elder looks like, and the flower, it's a really pretty little flower up there. The flower works as like a diaphoretic and releasing the hot pathogen. And then you can also use that in cooking. Like, it's a pioneer food of where you can take that whole umbro and dip it in like a batter and then fry it. I don't know how nourishing it is, but
Talking about the flower there at the top?
yep, right up there. Yep, and then that'll turn into the elderberry.
Question for you. Is this good to fight mosquitoes?
Is that the root beer plant?
Yeah.
I haven't heard of this plant being for that, but the beautyberry, which is over here, we can go look at that really quick. I think we can get to it going this way. The beautyberry does help with mosquitoes. I'm looking. Oh, there it is. I think we're also going to talk about violet tomorrow.
Yeah.
And there's a violet plant right in here. I've been trying to get violet growing in this garden for the past year. Oh, it grows here. It does, but it needs to have moist and like some shade. And at Boyd Hill, next to the aviary, there's a little section of a violet patch. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Here we got one little violet plant out of the probably 40 that I planted here,
Wow.
and it's flowering right now. And so we'll talk about that more tomorrow. But that's one of my favorites. Right. So where are we? Okay. So beautyberry is not really flowering right now. But beautyberry is this plant right here. So right now it's kind of hard to see why it's called beautyberry. But when it's in its glory, there'll be a lot of these leaves, and they'll look very lush and wonderful. And what you do is you just take the leaf and rub it all over your arm, your face, and then it keeps the mosquitoes away. So it works really well. I have tried to make like a mosquito repellent by extracting the beautyberry leaves. It worked okay, but some people say it doesn't. Like, you just have to use it fresh. So you can play around with it.
All day, like that?
You
Or
have
just
to
like every hour you gotta reapply.
Maybe like every hour or two.
Just leave it.
Yeah. Oh, there is a Chinese herb. Have you heard of Hishu Wu?
Yeah.
It's a Chinese herb that helps with, like, for me, gray hair, deep nourishment, moistening. It's growing on the fence right over here. And if you want to peek at it really fast, right here. It looks very nondescript, but since he planted it, it's grown at least 6 inches, which was like a week ago.
Wow.
This right here, look how it's already growing up the fence. It's gonna take over this whole fence. It's like for when you're aging, for re-nourishing, re-moistening, like when you, as you get older, you know, the gray hairs start creeping in, so it helps with nourishing a part of the body that, you know, does all that. Yeah. And then it basically works on the entertainment. Alright, we'll go this way.
I'm like, this is some 18.
Yeah, yeah.
Some people do have white hair.
Yeah. My grandmother had a strip of gray right here
Yeah.
for a long time, and nowhere else was gray.
I don't associate it with age because it happens. I grew up, it happens. Turn 18, boom.
I know some families.
All right, I'm trying to find the plants that we talked about today.
Yes.
Well, we haven't talked about goldenrod yet, but we'll be talking about this plant tomorrow. This is another one of my faves. It's a bitter. It's native to Florida. And this plant next to it is almost the opposite. Whereas this one is more drying and bitter. They're both Florida natives, and this one has a beautiful ladybug. Oops, sorry. This one is more cooling and moistening. So for the digestion, and also works on like burns and that things that you would put aloe on for the spiderwort here. And then the other thing about spiderwort, if you ever are worried about radiation, you always want to have your radiation tracker around. You don't have to have one because this flower will turn pink when it is
I've heard of this.
when it is around radiation.
Wow.
And so my friend Debbie, who's a student, she had a friend who went through radiation for cancer, and the spiderwort turned pink when she came around.
What?
Yep.
What?
She watched it.
Did she
it'll
touch
just,
it?
like-
Did she touch it or just?
I don't know. I don't know
Wow.
all the details. Yeah. These mushrooms, I'm trying to, I need to research this mushroom. So I thought this mushroom was named something else. So I'm not going to talk about this mushroom, but from what I remember about this mushroom, it works on the dental health. But I can't remember the name of it right now. It's
Thank you.
I was calling it the wrong name one time, so I don't want to say it.
Chicken of the no, it's not chicken.
Now,
of the
chicken of the woods, but chicken of the woods would be orange. But this one, I had learned was good for mouth health, like inside. And then we have, let's see here. So this, I believe, is Thai basil, or one of them.
What is it?
It used to be normal.
Some type of basil.
Rosemary over here. I think we're going to talk about rosemary tomorrow.
Learn your rosemary.
Oh yeah, rosemary for remembrance.
Right, right.
I love
Now,
rosemary.
they say rosemary is really good with memory, and one of the ways that rosemary works is it increases the circulation to the brain, and it also works with phlegm. But one of my mentors that I've known for a long time, her name is Leslie Williams. She's in Georgia. She's been in Michigan, Florida, Maine, now Georgia. Amazing herbalist. She says not only is rosemary for remembrance, but it's also to forget. What would you want to forget?
Interesting.
Trauma, like letting go, right? So we want to use memory to hold on to our memories, but then sometimes we need to let them go and not hold on to them. And so it can work that way too. So we have, I think we have some mullein over here. This is the Florida Betony, but I know you guys already learned about that. this mullein is really beautiful, isn't it? And I encourage you to come over and actually like feel the leaves.
Oh, it feels like lamb's hair.
And so when we were talking about, Michael was saying, how do I deal with all these hair, all this hair in my throat? Like, look at the leaf. It's like literally just full of all this hair. And that's what's really helping to clean out
so
the
sorry.
wounds and get all that yucky stuff out.
Oh, wow.
So this, if we were going to be harvesting the root, this would be the second year. And so you usually harvest the root between the first and second year. So this wouldn't be a bad time for us to harvest the root, but we don't want to do that because we want the stalk to come up. So I don't think he's interested in harvesting this plant, but it is magnificent. The leaf we can harvest anytime. And then of course, hopefully it will put up a stalk and we'll be able to see the flowers. So, so that'd be really nice.
Would you address the one behind you?
This right here. So this would be comfrey. Anybody familiar with comfrey? So we don't have comfrey in the list of herbs, I don't think. I don't remember if we talk about comfrey. I've taught this class many times and I still am like, do we talk about comfrey or not? Well, plus over the years the herbs have changed. So, which I think is a good thing. So with comfrey, there's a lot of debate on whether comfrey should be used internally or not. And so there are a lot of herbalists that use comfrey internally, and you just need to make that decision for yourself. But if you give it to a client or the public, you just want to let them know that comfrey does have, like, it's basically protecting the liver. And so some plants have constituents that even though they're really good and they heal the body from whatever you're trying to work with, sometimes there can be parts of the plant that are not, and they can be a little harmful or cause things that you're not really excited about. And so you just have to learn what those things are with each plant. And comfrey is one of the plants. You just have to figure out what your comfort level is. There are lots of herbalists that use this plant internally and say it's completely safe. Other herbalists are like, no, this is harmful to your liver, you should not do this, this is bad. So I try to stick on the air of caution, and I definitely, for clients, I use it topically. So why you would use comfrey is it's called, another like common name would be like knit bone. So if you have a fractured bone, it works super fast to get those bones knitted back together, so fast that you got to really be careful. You can't just go willy-nilly drinking some comfrey and throwing some comfrey on a broken bone, because if it's not lined up correctly, it will literally heal wrong. And so there's, read on it, you will be amazed. It is not a joke. It does knit bone, but it does such a good job of doing it that you have to really be careful that you're doing it correctly. The other thing that it does is heal wounds really well. So let's say with our echinacea example, a puncture wound. Echinacea, right? We want to get echinacea on there, not comfrey. You don't want comfrey on a puncture wound, and here's why. What it will do is, let's say I accidentally like sliced myself to the bone right there. And I want to, you know, I'm active, I need this fixed, so I got to get this closed up. And I put my comfrey on there, boop. Well, if I close it up too fast and the tissues that are underneath are not healed, it's going to seal in that wound. And what's going to happen? Infection. So you don't want comfrey to seal that up. You want the wound to heal from the inside out, not from the outside in, because that's how you get infection. Okay? So if you're going to use comfrey, I use it on like sprains, strains, those types of things. If it is on bone, then it would be on bone that's not going to have like a lot of movement, like ribs. comfrey on ribs wouldn't be as concerning as like comfrey on an arm bone or a leg bone that's not lined up right. Sound good?
Should we wait for like PT to give the green light?
Yeah, yeah,
alignment
yeah,
before
exactly.
you-
Totally, yes. Work with the other professionals
Chiropractors and stuff.
as a team and say, okay, now we're ready for comfrey, or we're not going to use comfrey. And then for non-breaks, like any of the things that are not broken, it would be a lot more safe. And then of course with concussions, having like you know, it wouldn't be appropriate to take one of these leaves. I'm going to take this one because it looks bad anyway. I mean, you look beautiful, but you know, this would be kind of silly, right? For a concussion. So how would I get that on my head for a concussion? Oil, poultice, tea, you know, whatever. Or just chop it up and like rub it in, which would be kind of weird too. I'd rather use the oil. So it's a really cool plant and it grows nicely here, and even if you didn't use it medicinally, it does amend the soil with nitrogen, bringing nitrogen into the soil for just being a nitrogen fixer. So there's peppergrass, and let's go this way, see what else we can find.
That's the peppergrass.
Oh, this is a big old hibiscus bush. This is Turk's cap. So this particular one, the flowers kind of just stay closed like this, and but you can still use the leaves, the flowers, whatever you want to. Oh, I want to find tropical chickweed. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, now that I remembered what I'm looking for. This is tropical chickweed. So I'm like, what was I even looking for out here? I don't even know. I'm like blindly. Okay, so I implore you to come over and grab some tropical chickweed and munch on it. It looks like this. It's this whole patch right here. Just grab a little bit. Of course, when we're harvesting plants, we always want to make sure the plant's okay with it. Tropical chickweed is usually very giving, but you always want to just make sure, hey, you okay? Doesn't it? So this one's a little bitter, and as you can see, it looks like it's not the freshest. You know, it looks a little older. It's pretty cool. All right, let's see what else we can find. Let's see what's over here. Nothing. Okay. Oh wait, what time is it? 4:32. Okay, let's go back in.
I couldn't find any cedar that we talked about.
Oh yeah, Sita, thank you. Well, we might have to do that one tomorrow. I know there was a big Sita right around here. Thank you for saying that, Melly. I forgot about the Sita. Maybe we should walk this way and go. Well, we already walked that way though, right? Maybe.
We didn't go all
Where
the way
is
over.
the Sita? Let's go this way. It might. I feel like it's over here.
I want a papaya ball.
Usually Sita is like everywhere in yards, but funny that I don't
Sometimes,
see it.
yeah. Sometimes it's tricky.
And sometimes I'm like looking so hard for things that I just don't ever see. This is
Oh, here's some,
I
Ruthie.
got tropical chickweed in my throat. Thank you. All right, so if you're not aware, we're looking at something important. And there's a few plants here. Do you guys see the pepper grass?
No.
Right there.
Oh, cool.
And then we got Bidens over here mixed in, and then there's Ceta. So the Ceta is the plant with the little yellow flowers. And I really suggest, like, when you look at it, it looks like something you would just step on and step over. And it doesn't all look like this. Some of them are taller, some of them are more bushier. So there's 3 main species: rhombifolia, cordifolia, and something else that I can't recall right now. And the cool thing about them is the fact,
buttercup almost.
yeah. And but I think you should grab a leaf and just kind of like mess around with the leaf, because it looks so dry and like tiny. It's like, and then you put it in your mouth and you're like, oh, okay, it's moistening. Like
Touching it,
way
you can
more.
feel a little bit of it just in the leaf itself.
It's really cool. Slimy. Yeah, you would never know by looking at the leaf how slimy it is.
yeah.
Where is it? This one?
So digestion, right? Somebody that has dry digestion this would be really nicely hot and dry.
What would you classify as dry digestion? What is that?
Well, it could look a couple ways. One way would be constipation,
Oh, great.
and if they have pain, like more sharp pain, not like gas pain.
Okay.
Burning feeling, stinky stuff,
Okay.
is hot. Dark stools.
Is this a lime, lemon, no?
This is passion fruit. So this is passiflora. Oh, good gracious. I don't remember. It starts with an E. I can't remember. But the cool thing about passion vine, is they are relaxing, right? And they have oftentimes a yummy fruit, right? There you go. It's yours. So the fruit is quite delicious. The only thing you want to know about passion vine for this, for example, if I were to take that fruit and only eat the skin, or take this fresh piece of greenery and eat that, there is a somewhat toxic property to it. But if you dry it, cook it, eat the inside of the fruit, not the outside skin, it's okay. So if you mess around with preservation, you don't get the toxic part. If you have Passiflora incarnata, which is native here, it doesn't have any of the toxicity at all. But passion flower. And so it's important to know, because like if you have goats, some of the species of passion flower will kill them because of the toxicity. Yeah. So it's something you need to know. But incarnata has none of that. And the only way to get around it, you just have to do something to it other than just pick it up and eat it. Now the fruit is safe. You just don't want to eat the outside skin raw. That's where the toxins are in the fruit. Okay? When would we ever do that? But you know, somebody might not know, and they would pick it up and be like, I'm trying to eat it like an apple, but then they would get some of those toxins.
Ruthie, what is that other tree growing up there? Is that a type of vine?
I don't know. I don't know what that is. I'd have to. This is. Yeah, I can't remember. It's not coming out of my mind. This is.
It doesn't, if it has plants in the background, they won't know how to differentiate.
Stuff in the middle or no?
Is it licorice?
No.
So sometimes when you do this, you go
yeah.
like this, and you can get the plant. But
Does it smell okay?
Oh,
This
cassia.
part is it?
Yeah, cassia.
What is it?
Cassia.
that's what it is.
It's a native plant to Florida, cassia. It's a pollinator plant, and then it does have some edible aspect to it that I can't remember right now. And then is also a, I think it's related to senna. Yeah, I think this is related to senna. I'm pretty sure it's related to senna in some way. Like senna for moving the poop.